Hey there, guys. Very happy New Year to you. What an exciting time to head into 2025 with everything that's happened. I hope you're well rested. I've certainly eaten my calories a million times over. Today, we're going to talk about AI automation agencies or the AI agency in 2025. This is based on my experience with clients, the thousands of people in my community who are making, multiple five and six figures with it, and some of the trends that I'm seeing that are holding people back from making money. And because going into 2025, things are changing, I think it's good to get in front of this and talk about some of these trends now. The biggest challenge I see people have when I speak to them, what is it that you need help with? It's actually getting clients, getting their first monetization. And I'm building up the course in the community for that. But what you have to bear in mind is that an AI automation agency, in other words, an AI automation is a tool, not an outcome. Using AI and automation is something that we do to deliver an outcome that the client wants. And people care about what you deliver, not how you deliver it. So lots of people, and I think we've got to the point where the tail's kind of wagging the dog, where people aren't really searching for, I need an AI automation agency. What they're saying is, I need more leads. I need to save money on this process, or I need to get more customers, or I want to solve this process. But we're using the tool to describe the outcome. Well, in other words, we need to flip that on its head. And you can actually see this, like if you Google AI automation agency, one of the things you'll see on Google as you go down the results is everybody's talking about the tool and nobody's really talking about the results or the outcomes. And ultimately, that's the thing that individuals want, not necessarily the how you're actually physically going to get there. For example, and you'll see on the channel, we've had like podcasts with Devin. Devin's a vertical guy. He's making between 30 and 80K a month. He's using AI automation agencies AI automation, should I say, to drive newly qualified leads to a business. So they're using like a social media as a channel, for instance. I think it was like Twitter by memory or Instagram. And essentially, the metric that he's delivering is, I will get you X newly qualified leads. A newly qualified lead's great because each newly qualified lead may be worth like $800 to them. And so his whole service is in service of delivering an outcome. It's not like, hey, I'm an AI agency and then we can do a bit of this and then we can do a bit of that and a bit of that. And it's not really speaking to clients in a language that they actually understand. I say this to stress the point that, nobody has ever come to me and said, Jack, I need an AI agency to come into my business and grab us by the collar and shake us around. All the conversations have always been, I want to solve this problem. Or like, I want a chatbot that does X, or I want to grow my SEO, or it's basically lots of different things. Or I want to grow on LinkedIn, or I want to grow on this platform. It's always in service of delivering a problem, not actually the tool itself. And I stress that, and it sounds like I'm repeating it, and hopefully it does sound like I'm repeating it, because sometimes we have to be remembered more than we have to be told something new. And I think it's so important to bear in mind that, like, again, everything is in service of growth. Like if we take a look at different markets, for example, right? Let's take a look at, okay, if you think of SEO agencies, right, or marketing agencies as is a really good prime example of that. That is in service of delivering growth. People don't really care about the minutiae, the specifics of like SEO, for instance. What they want is to rank higher on Google. How they get there, they're really agnostic about that. The key is they're looking for an outcome. And I'm noticing like a lot of people aren't focusing on the outcome for the client, which means when you're having conversations about doing things, they're either confused or they're just not biting or engaging with you because you're focusing too much on the agency side and less on the outcomes. And taking a step back from that, I really want to emphasize that this is an incredible, explosive, fast-growing market. I actually don't know of any better market that you could be in than this one right now. So if you're in it or considering getting in it, like, congrats. I think it's awesome. We have these two things, generally, there's this thing we talk about, the technology adoption curve. I know some other YouTubers have discussed this a little bit, and I want to share my point of view on it because, on the one hand, we have the kind of early adopters progressing through to the laggards at the end. Now, when you think about where we sit on this, the reason why AI and AI automations is so unique is because the technology and like the capabilities are constantly refreshing. I mean, we just had DeepSeek that came out, for example, that open source model from China. Every single week or so, and then we had Sora, and then we have all these different technologies. Even if you were to max out what we are today, we're constantly pushing back to the left, and businesses in general, in fact, people in general, cannot keep up with the pace of change in AI. And it is at that kind of like point, the exponentiality of its growth. So the good news is that even with, I'd say the technology we had 6 or 12 months ago, we have not seen full adoption across the market at all. No chance, no way. Like I shared the story before. Like I was at the dentist like 4 months ago, and she was like, "Jack, have you heard of this thing called ChatGPT?" I said, "I've never heard of it. What does it do?" Like people are still even figuring out what a model is, let alone adopting it. Like the general knowledge is actually really low. And that's based on standards from a couple of years ago, notwithstanding the fact that actual like knowledge and capabilities are increasing like month on month, like the new things that come out. So I say that to say we're way further to the left than you even realize. Like how AI will advance across the market is yet to be decided. But what we do know for sure is that there are many businesses that definitely would benefit from the technologies and systems that Like there's no question about that. The good thing about being in this industry is everything's always getting pushed back to the left because the technology keeps replenishing, and like what's great today, is not going to be what's great tomorrow. So to say the market and the context is great. We then have this kind of like dynamicism between the building and the consulting. I've seen other YouTubers touch on this briefly about actually, do you want to consult versus do you want to build? One of the interesting things I saw when I went to the Maker conference in Munich was hearing from Warner. Now, Warner have developed like an in-house automation hub of like 3 people. It's got like a project manager and 2 guys that sit on Make, basically typing buttons and doing crazy stuff. Or it might be the other way around. But anyway, there's like 3 people in this team. And they basically go team to team around the entire organization saying, look, tell us like everything that you do step by step. And then we'll identify based on a priority and business impact assessment where we think you're best served in terms of driving automations. And they basically did that. They basically said, okay, you can save this, cool, let's do that as a project. And it became this like master mega hub that sits with inside the business doing that. So some businesses will develop that themselves internally. I thought that was really interesting about how we may get to the point where you have a CTO, a COO, a CIO, a CAIO, a Chief AI Information Officer, which because the market's so fragmented, and I say it's fragmented because if you think of automating certain things, there's no key standardized player that you'd go to. So we're still understanding actually what the best model is going to be for bridging the gap between the obvious need that exists with businesses and the solution that sits there. Now, this is where it comes different in my view between like a large enterprise client and more kind of like SME. So your enterprise clients, right, will throw 50K, 100K at complete nonsense projects that quite frankly are crazy. And lots of the existing service partners of these businesses, whether it be the CRM like Salesforce, or it could be agencies they work with, are using AI themselves to then try and influence the business. Like, for example, many of the large companies that aren't using retrieval augmented generation systems, for example, are trying to do that within their CRM. That's the move that CRMs are doing. So for instance, what they're saying is, we'll train everything on your email and we'll deliver it as part of the system. Now, because things are moving so quickly, there are always opportunities. But this comes back to a point, I think, which is key, which is relationships with the businesses are really important. People buy from people that they know. Once you have that standing relationship with a business, it is then easy to take an assessment of everything they need, and you can support, consult, and advise based on the problem sets that they actually have. So if I had to bring that down to one point, it's like I would say focus more on an outcome you're delivering, a business metric that you're moving, rather than, hey, I use AI and automation to do cool stuff. And it can do many beautiful, cool things, but I think it's more about the number that you're moving. And that really brings me on to the third thing that is stopping people from making money in 2025, or will stop them making money this year. And that is shiny object syndrome. And the same thing that makes you an incredible, ambitious, phenomenal entrepreneur is also the same thing that holds you back. And this is something that I've seen play out so many times, is this sea of opportunities and building an AI agency model, and then also having like a SaaS model or multiple SaaS companies, or like, and also different websites and different, it's just like, it is so much, and like any of them could work, but they can't all work at exactly the same time. And a really good little expression I heard was that the nicher you go, the faster you grow. And I think it was even Robert Herjavec actually from Shark Tank who said this, and it really made an impression on me, which is the earlier on you are, the more laser focused that you should be. And if you're at the start of trying to get your first like client, your first customer, you would benefit massively from really having only one thing that you focus on and just bringing 120% to that one particular thing. What stops most people making money is they're trying to do 7 different things at once, one is hard enough. Getting one from 0 to a million is hard enough. You don't need to then try and play life on extreme difficulty mode. And then getting into some specifics to help with your 2025 journey. And as much you could say, I want this video to be more of just a kind of, I guess, like a conversation, just some thoughts I've had that I see are holding people back. The first one is that actually use your unfair advantage. Like if you've got deep industry experience in, I don't know, the insurance sector or real estate, or I don't know, insert the blank MMA gyms, like use that. That's your like unfair advantage. Like you have deep understanding of the problem sets that exist within that industry and how you can move the needle, like how you can drive more customers to those gyms. And you so happen to use AI and automations to make that happen. So think about your 1% skill sets, all of them stacked together. The other one is on client acquisition. And I'm building this out this month for my school community, step by step, of starting with your personal life, building up to, do you have the idea? Are you getting customers? Are you converting those customers? How much profit are you making? Like step by step by step, almost like basically, if the answer is yes, you advance to the next stage. If not, you go down below. How you go from 0 to making your first 10 to 20K a month online. That course is coming out in January in the community. Now, when you're thinking about how you actually scale things, you really should spend some time thinking about the market and what unfair advantage you can get, because most people look at it and say, dude, there's so many different businesses that I can sell to. Yes, there are, but you don't need to sell to every business that ever existed to make a great income with an AI agency. And we also talk a lot about offers, like how to make an offer so incredibly good. It's, you know, they're stupid saying no to it. It's difficult to make an offer that is so compelling if you don't actually articulate the value that you're going to offer from that offer. So for example, if you're saying, I'm an AI agency that can automate loads of cool stuff and build a chatbot. Okay, great, but how does that help me? How does that move me forward? But if you're saying, look, I'm going to deliver for you like 50% reduction on your call center staff, but I'm going to deliver to you, I'm going to, give you 10 new qualified leads per week guaranteed, or you don't pay a fee. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you need to have an actual outcome, and then how you get that is where your knowledge and everything else shines. So you either want to think of it as being like industry specific or problem specific. You want to find a way of nailing that down and being really specific about who you're going after in your target market. Over the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, I had a good think about on the whiteboard how I can show up and bring the most amount of value possible to you on this channel. One of the things I want to do is to bring other people on who have had experience crushing it and nailing it in this, so you can learn from their experiences and step by step some of the stuff that they've done. So one of the things I'd really love to bring to the channel is more voices from different perspectives to help you see, I guess, real life case studies of, I can talk about what I did with my startup and how I got that from 0 to 50K and sold it, and what I do currently now with AI. But I also want to bring in other individuals like we did with Deb and a few other people to help bring different perspectives to you, alongside the other content we'll do on AI automations and SaaS and lots of other cool, exciting stuff. So share your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think about the AI agency in 2025. Does some of this stuff resonate with you in terms of focus and how we articulate the value? But in any case, guys, I hope you have a blessed beginning to 2025, and I'll catch you in the next video.